Yo, brother, it's time for us to start talking the real, man. We've been sugarcoating too much. We've got to start calling everything out for what it is.
Hey guys, well, it's new wheel time. So I'm not sure if I should say this or not, but I'm a little frustrated in that I haven't been able to ride any of my own wheels since probably mid-December. First I had the V13, then I had the Commander Pro. Then I just got the X30, and here is another Commander Pro. But I shouldn't complain. So this is compliments of Liam. Thanks again, Liam, if you're watching this. Liam is a local Southern California rider who is going into the side business of selling Begode and Extreme Bow wheels at steep discounts. So if you're an experienced, advanced rider, you might want to check the description to reach out to Liam, see what you might be able to get. Now, I still have the original, maybe called pre-production, though there were a lot of those, I think, that went out, Commander Pro. This, maybe call it a batch 2 or full production model of the Commander Pro. Commander Pro has been a great wheel. I've had no real problems with it. Fantastic, but it did have some issues around on the periphery, and hopefully this will resolve many of them. I guess we'll see. So let's open these guys up. This is the battery pack. I'll open this one first. Of course, unlike the EX30, where you've got the individual battery packs, of course, on the Commander Pro, like the Sherman S, the battery packs are a unit with the side panels. This is all interesting packing. Another box open. I'm not really expecting any differences on these panels. Necessary hardware. Looks just like the original one. Let's see if the pedals changed by any chance. Pedals are identical. I love these pedals, by the way. This might be new. It's probably just for shipping though. Remove that when I put the pads on. Another jacket. So I actually put this on, and it's really nice. It looks like they're giving these away for all their wheels. Just orange instead of the yellow one that Begode uses. But yeah, that's I think it's a nice touch, nice branding touch. We have our power supply. Oh, this is not a good sign. The dongle. I thought it was going to be fixed. The mode, so we wouldn't need this thing to charge the wheel. But let's see, maybe it's an afterthought. Manual, pads. I'm going to put these pads on this time because I don't have any spare pads right now. Shock adjusting tool, which actually works out really nice, and you only need to use this at the beginning when you get it tuned in for yourself, and then you can put this away in your tool shed. The same mud guard as before. I'm beginning to think this is not the version 2 wheel that we were thinking it was going to be. It does have one improvement for sure that I see, I think. Yes. So let me put this up on the table and show you. The biggest upgrade to this wheel from the initial one is this internal mud guard, which is metal, very similar to what you see in the Begode wheels right now. And whereas the rubber one was a floppy rubber and it was attached at one point down here, and there were zip ties connecting things together. It was really, really low quality. This is much more substantial. Let me give you another angle. Again, the previous one had a channel here, zip tied support. This has this side on the other side, and also wraps around here and comes back down, and it's all metal. This is a street tire according to the box. The name brand is Topsin, Topsin. Never heard of that before. It's definitely different than the other Commander Pro I had, which is also street tire, but this is much more aggressive, but yet it's definitely not a, I don't know, it's kind of between a street tire and an enduro tire that is shipped on most of our wheels right now. Be interesting to see how it rides. Here is another view of the lower support mechanism that has these bearings which rub against corresponding parts on the battery case. And I don't know, it's been working okay on the other Commander Pro over 800 miles. I kind of like it. And everything was tight. These 4 bolts, I was able to tighten them just a little bit more. I definitely wouldn't say they were loose, but I wouldn't say they were fully tightened. And all the other ones were tight. Hopefully you can see all this debris here, all these particles. These are metal shavings. Don't know where they came from, but they're all over this side. On the other side, there's a very little. It's kind of like the stuff you see when there's a little bit of cross threading going on when you're inserting screws. Not great, I would say. I don't know if you're going to be able to see all this, but I'm shooting it in 4K, so maybe you can. There's also lots of little tiny metal shavings all over here and all along this shell. Very tiny, and again, I think it's from cross threading in here. But what's a little discouraging is these are the openings into the control board. So, yeah, God knows what's floating down in there, but I gotta believe there's little bits of these shavings inside too. Now the boards are conformal coated, so that's one good thing anyway. Time to open this up. Again, I had to take off the front and the back handles. And the back handle, be very careful. Lessons learned from last time is that delicate wire that feeds the brake light will probably break off if you let this handle dangle. So I have a piece of tough, I think it's called frog tape. It's super strong masking tape on the top to keep this from dangling. So I've removed the middle handle. That's 4 screws. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 screws along the top. And hopefully this will just come off. See inside. Wow, this is an improvement over the last time. Looks like they actually have a wiring harness here. Before it was a rat's nest in here to put everything back in. You kind of had to mush it in. So that's good to see. That is definitely an improvement. Slightly closer look at the inside chamber here. I would not consider this wheel water or weatherproof. This is where the screws for the trolley handle go in, and it is a little tiny bit of a recessed chamber with an exit hole down below. But of course, that means mud and water can go from below up into here. And now there is the internal mud guard, so maybe probably won't happen much. But there's no weather stripping around here. It's just a tiny lip, but this top doesn't really overlap much at all, I would say. And most importantly, these wires, these holes where the wires from the battery cases come in, they're not sealed in any way. I suppose you could put a glob of silicone in there. If it were me riding this wheel in any kind of rain, what I would do is you buy they sell backpack rain covers, kind of like big giant shower caps for your head. Get a medium-sized one. I have those, and they fit this kind of wheel perfectly. So just keep it in your backpack, and if there's any chance of rain, just throw it over here, and I think you will be well protected. And if you wanted to, you could open this up and put a glob of silicone in there, and then there would be no entrance of water from inside. As I'm buttoning everything up, I do want to highlight that they did put a lot of goop on the connection from the wiring from this to the rear light. So it's a form of a strain relief, so that's an improvement. So I feel much less worried about letting it hang like this now. So they listened about that. Everything's buttoned up. Let's turn it on. And it's alive. Here is another improvement from the first shipment, the prototype. They didn't have any filter on here, so it was impossible to read this display during the day or at night. And now they've got the red filter on it, so you can actually read it. Still be obviously nice if it was a much bigger display, but for what it is, that's an improvement. I would like to comment a little more about the weatherproofing, waterproofing of the wheel. I think it should be maybe a little less severe in my criticism. I pointed out that the large holes down here that allow the battery cables to feed through, there's no gasket or anything. Well, as you can see, the cover of the batteries does cover the holes. Now, this is clearly not, there's no gasket here, so it's not sealed. These do mount like this, so that's another barrier for water to work its way in here. So it's okay. I think I would wouldn't feel it's going to cut out at me if I'm riding in a little bit of rain without covering the wheel. But I really would actually for all my wheels right now, I would put a backpack water rain cover over the top of this, and just keep all this free of any moisture. Because again, these screws also, there's no washers, gaskets, and all these entrance points. So if you're riding in a wheel, I don't know why you'd want to do this, but if you're riding and it's a downpour of heavy rain, I think rain could potentially still maybe work its way into the control board. So play it safe. All right, guys. Well, in summary, what have they changed between this version and the initial kind of pre-production version that's in the other? Actually, it's right over there. You might be able to see it. Well, the major improvement is the interior mud guard. It's all metal, much better secured. That's really big. The internal wiring harness, they have a wiring harness of sorts. That's better. It's still a bit of a mushing things together when putting it all together. It's not as nice as like the big old wheels right now. They don't have too much cabling inside, which is nice. The display is updated. They've got the filter, and not much else. The ports still require the dongle. Now, Leam wanted to get this a little quicker. Extreme Bow is saying that I think the wheel is shipping out towards the end of March. We'll have the new mode, so they'll have the fixed charge ports. So I believe that. Otherwise, it is pretty much the same wheel. The trolley handle didn't change, and the suspension's the same, pedals the same. They didn't do anything. They haven't made use of these holes for the front and the back for something. It's like they put them there for something, but they never filled them. Oh, and the mud guard is identical to the original one, which I'm not going to, again, try and bother to put on because it's nearly impossible. And the way it is ultimately secured, it would fall off really quickly. All right, check out my other video. I'll put a link up here for my initial review, a bit more thorough of the first Commander Pro I have. And hope you found this useful. And until next time, safe riding.